How's it going, guys? Steel City Dashcam here. So I'm making this little video just to sort of go over sticker bombing. How I do it on my car, how to do it in general, some good tips to practice both in general and when working on a vehicle, as well as some things I've noticed and some different advice depending on how you want to go about it, what kind of finish you want, how crisp you want the lines to be, where you want the stickers to stop on the body panels, etc. So I'm going to grab a piece of cardboard, I'm going to grab a couple stickers, and I'm going to show you sort of the basics on how I do this. Alright, so here's my table. I got set up just to give you guys a little demonstration. We got ourselves a bunch of stickers here. For cutting, I use just a regular old X-Acto knife like this guy here. Make sure you have a bunch of extra blades. While it can work on a dull or broken blade, just because of the nature of this project, it doesn't cut very cleanly, and especially if you're trying to make clean lines, you need a fresh blade. I always switch to a fresh one before I start cutting the lines at the very end of whatever project I'm doing. So in order to make it look as uniform as possible and to make it look like an authentic sticker bomb, like a wrap, more than it does just a bunch of stickers thrown on a panel, what I like to do is I like to layer. I sort of put a base coat using bigger stickers like these, or these sort of more basic ones that you wouldn't really care about not seeing. And I put those as sort of a base layer and fill in as I go with some of the cooler ones like this, or like that one, given the finger, of course, things like that. And I basically do that so that it looks like it's not just barely covering the panel. It looks like there's depth to it, it adds texture. It makes it look like if you peel stickers off, you're never going to reach the bottom. So that if a sticker comes off, which I haven't personally had actually happen, but if it happens, or if you put one that's not waterproof and you need to start covering stuff up, it's very easy. Alright, so I stickered a small portion just so you can kind of see what I mean. So you can see underneath, and I'll have pictures of the before I added these top layer stickers and after. You can see it sort of looks like there's a base layer, that's all those more rounded ones, but then there's the more intricate ones that I didn't get to show perfectly in this because it's such a small sample area. But it basically makes it look like, if I take this sticker off, I don't know that I actually can without breaking everything, this guy here, but if I take it off, it's still covered underneath, there's still stickers. So I'm going to include both of these pictures so you can get an idea of what each of them will look like, of course a small sample size, and you can decide which you think is better for whatever you want to do it for. I will include pictures here. I actually sticker bombed my buddy's airsoft shotgun, and I did more of the lighter patterning, where there's not a ton of depth to it, but it's sticker bombed. Like, it has the authentic look. It's just, obviously, if you peel up a sticker or two, you'll hit the bare metal. Now this, then, is where the X-Acto knife comes into play. So you can see I purposely did this where I have to cut some of the edges to make this nice and clean. And so basically, you'll just take your X-Acto knife, and what I do is I kind of just slice along the edge like this. It's kind of hard with one hand, and a dull blade. Let's try that again. So this will definitely show you the difference between a dull blade and a fresh one, because you saw how much I was struggling there, and now it just slices right on through. But like I said, the way I typically do it is at an angle along the edge of the panel, because then the blade just sort of seamlessly slides on through. You get a nice clean cut like that. Now, the reason I have this broken trim piece here is because I want to show you what happens if you want to get an angle, like this corner here. These can be a little tricky. It definitely takes some practice. It might take a little bit more layering to sort of cover up the lines you have to cut. That's just, there's no way to avoid it. The sticker will never fold cleanly over as you're trying to wrap it across two different planes. But basically what you're gonna do here is when you put the sticker on, you're gonna make relief cuts, which I will show you what those look like. So you can see, if you try to just fold it over, you're gonna get this ugly little crease. Basically, making these relief cuts will attempt to reduce that as much as possible if you cut it in the correct place for the curvature of the whatever you're putting stickers on. So you can see mid-cut kind of what I did. That corner is just going to be a little weird because of that tab. But basically I made a slit right where the curvature on the panel is so that it can fold over like so. Now, this one isn't perfect because obviously I'm doing this pretty lazily because I won't need this for anything. This is in the trash because this is broken. But that sort of gives you the general idea. You might here, if you want, depending on how you want it to go across the panel, you might make more cuts. It just sort of depends on how you want it to hug the side, if you want it to hug the side. Otherwise, obviously, you can always trim it if you don't want it to. But this is especially helpful in spots like this, which I'll show you on the vehicle. So when you have parts of the car that curve this way and this way, it's perfect. You can see here in the next drive, there is actually a small cut right there that obviously you'd have to be looking for. But that's basically how you end up covering the spots along the creases. It's especially evident over here on the mirror because of the fact that there's just so many curves and angles. You can see that guy's cut there. And this is where more stickers might come into play because you might want to slice them a little bit and add other ones over the cuts you had to make if you at all can. These curves can be tricky. That's why I always keep extra stickers on hand in case I need to touch something up because the odds of it happening are pretty high. That's just the nature of it on a vehicle, at least, because you got a lot of air moving past that at a lot of different speeds, and it's not going to stay perfect. That goes for anywhere on this car, especially little corners like this. When I go to cut here, as I was saying before, I would slice right along here and right along here, and it makes, all in all, very clean lines all around. So I've gone over how you apply them. Now, how do you keep them in good condition? So here are your two choices for the most part. I've had good experience with both of these brands. This one's a little bit better because it's meant for the outside of an automobile. But basically you can go with a clear finish or a matte one. It sort of depends on your stickers. It depends on the look you're going for. I have alternated between the two because I have some stickers that are gloss and some that are matte. But all in all, I actually use gloss. And I mean, you can see it doesn't add a ton of shine, but you can see there's a bit of a reflection. It makes it pop, makes it stand out a little bit more, especially on the fading paints of this older vehicle. And it sort of fits in because the hood that we redid is gloss and the body naturally is a gloss metallic. But I've gone with a flat and it looks good too. It just sort of is up to your personal preference. Both work really well. I would recommend finding automotive quality for either, but the Krylon did work. It just doesn't do as good of a job of sealing it. Neither of them are perfect. Stickers are still going to slowly pop up over time. I can maybe give you a little example here. It's kind of hard to see. That is slightly popped up. Not enough that I would cover it up because it's staying stuck down. But like, for example, right here. That's something that will need covered up. But that's going to happen. I mean, I sprayed clear coat on this. It's just going to happen. There's no real avoiding it. Now, another thing that is up to personal preference, especially on a vehicle, stickers will fade over time. If you look in the background, you'll see that they all sort of start getting a pinkish light tint, like back behind here, that American flag. It sort of goes a pink, a purple. It's more noticeable like in the background of these ones that are kind of fading back there. That's just something to keep in mind. You can obviously let it leave like that, and there's no harm if you like that look. I, however, like having it look like that as a base coat, then covering it up with more bright and vibrant stickers. I mean, you look, and it's incredibly colorful despite having the same general color profile if you look from further away. All in all, like I said, there's no harm in doing it either way, leaving it or continuing to touch it up with more vibrant colored stickers. You also could do this with black and white. I mean, it's all up to preference, as long as you get stickers that are waterproof. They might be matte. As long as they're labeled as waterproof, they should be waterproof. I will provide some links in the description for examples of some of the packs I've purchased for the car that have worked well. As long as they're waterproof, you can go with whatever look you really want. Now, obviously, this advice I'm giving will alter slightly depending on what you're doing it on. Like, on my buddy's gun, I didn't obviously put any sort of clear coat. Now, if it was going to be out in the rain a lot, if it's going to experience the elements, I might get some sort of brush-on clear coat for something like that. Aerosol sprays are good. Don't be lazy like I do. I don't know how often it can show up, but I don't tape off before I spray the clear coat. And, I mean, it gets all around the edges. It can come off. It's just a pain. But because the paint on my car is in the condition it's in, I don't really mind so much. I just sort of take a towel and cover up the corner where the window is, and when I'm spraying the mirror, I cover up the driver's side window so that the glass doesn't get affected too poorly. But the way you apply sort of depends on how you want to do it, obviously. If it's not going to see outdoor use, you don't need to treat it like it's going to see outdoor use. It's a simpler process. Outdoor use, and especially on a vehicle, is probably the highest intensity stuff you're going to use. And do keep in mind that car parts that get hot will have issues. It'll fade quicker. They might peel up. Just keep that in mind. They're plastic or plasticky type materials. They're not meant to be stuck on high heat areas. That's why if you're going to sticker bomb your hood, be incredibly careful and maintain it very well. Otherwise, it's just going to look like trash. If you want to do your hood, I would recommend doing a vinyl wrap. If you want to do something that's high heat, vinyl wrap, hydro dipping. If you're doing something like your engine cover, I have seen that around here. People have done it. It does look really good, but stickers would not be practical in that sort of an application, so that's something to keep in mind too. Stickers aren't always going to be the perfect answer when you want this look. If you want it to look completely customized, unique, if you want complete control, this is the way to do it, but just keep in mind the application and the effect it might have. I will say, just as a testimonial as to how well these things stay on, I sticker bomb my front plate frame, or my front plate right around the lettering to basically cover up the black trim. And I haven't touched it up since I put it on here. It stays on that well, and that's with the air hitting it directly. The mirrors actually are affected a bit worse because of the aerodynamics of it and the fact that you basically have air brushing along the top and the side. But again, this is, if you want to do this on a vehicle, the way I've done it, I've found is an effective way to do it. There are obviously other ways. This isn't the say-all, end-all, and there's obviously a lot of stylistic and design choices you can make. But just keep in mind the pros and cons of each before you try it. I would test it on something that isn't visible or something small that's easily replaced. Like, for example, on my car, this little trim piece here, I would try it on something like that. Or just find what I did. Find some cardboard, find an interior trim piece, and try it on that and just see how it turns out so that you know you like the look before you commit to putting it on your vehicle. So yeah, those are sort of the basics on sticker bombing your vehicle, as well as anything else, sort of the basics of sticker bombing in general, I should say. If this was helpful to you, if you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. My Instagram is down below for both my vehicle, for my dash camming, for multiple different accounts. Feel free to check stuff out. If you have questions, I'm always happy to answer them, especially about the process of sticker bombing my car. This has been really fun. It gets a lot of attention. I love how it looks. It honestly turned out better than I could have ever expected. But yeah, if you enjoy, feel free to check out my other videos. Obviously, they're not all like this. But hey, you can branch out like I have a little bit if you'd like. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.